Idiocracy tried to warn us by Sydney Watson. I don't know what we're getting ourselves into again, as usual. So, welcome back to hell, I guess, as she usually says. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're shooting for 5K this year. Thank you. Thank you. We're going in.
I am both upset and alarmed by the reality that we live in.
Are you really? I mean, it is indeed, I'd argue it is indeed alarming. However, does that really matter? Does that really matter? I mean, yes, we should all be alarmed because it has been getting out of hand. Whatever has been, stupidity has been getting out of hand, right? Arguably, right? Since we're talking about stupidity and idiots, probably. Numbers have actually, IQ has dropped with the recent generation. I don't know how that works, but it has happened. Also, I'm in the city. I'm a picky eater. Parasaur steak sounds fantastic, don't you think? Also, you can still use that in the city. The city would still burn. Okay, it depends on what city we're talking about, but still.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. So, in one of my last videos, I discussed the plummeting literacy rates across the United States. Not just for kids, but for adults as well. Gen Z.
Well, yeah, because these kids will eventually start being adults. It makes sense, and it's almost impossible to fix afterwards. This is also a problem here in Germany, right? And Europe as a whole, right? Literally, literacy rates have dropped here. They've tried to remove, right? They've tried to remove tablets, right, from Swedish classrooms again because they've realized that they might be able to read texts, but they can no longer, or they now lack the ability to understand them. I think it was Sweden. It could be somewhere else, but still. Don't eat me. I'm the last of the dinosaurs. Such. It is truly sad. Anyways, do you want to be medium rare or well done?
He can't read.
Read the index card.
The dog's unwearing loyalty,
What did you say? Unwearing?
simplified and unreciprocated emotional
Unreciprocated. Unreciprocated. What do you mean?
dependency.
Okay. Yeah. What's that mean?
It means I don't know.
Nothing feels quite
I'm going to crash out. All looks, no brain. The definition of a literal bimbo. Now that is what I'm talking about here. That's what I'm talking about. All body, no brain.
as blackpilling as learning that 70% of grade 4 students aren't proficient with words. Just send the asteroid at this point. This experiment has failed. But if we are being honest, these signs of society's collective decline, not just cognitively, but in other ways as well, were there long before we learned that Gen Z is functionally illiterate. I mean, come on, there's still people like this walking among us.
There are as many genders as stars in the sky.
And they just keep
You mean as many mental illnesses as there are stars in the sky? Anyways, moving on.
expanding that acronym.
MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+.
During my video about reading rates, I referenced the 2006 Idiocracy film several times, making jokes about how it was actually kind of prophetic. Other people have also made the same point over the years. I'm not claiming this is my own idea, but today I think that statement is truer than ever. Because regrettably, we are living in a time where young people would rather become a YouTuber than do anything meaningful with their lives.
Understandable though. It is see, it is understandable though. Like, look at the state of the world, right? Look at the state of the world. Where I become whether I become a broke YouTuber or a broke electrician, though electricians do still get paid more than average usually, because they're more needed, especially now, right? Or if I become a useless factory worker, doesn't make any difference, right? See, young people want to become random things now, like YouTubers, TikTokers, whatever, right? Social media sensations. because real life is incredibly, like, the stuff that they could normally work is incredibly ass and boring and useless, and it doesn't pay well enough anyways. It See, the other stuff isn't attractive. That's the harsh reality. The other stuff isn't attractive. You're not getting paid enough. They are not owning homes, and they will not own homes. That much is clear.
This is not a joke. This is a statistic.
Also, arguably, you're more likely to become a YouTuber than an astronaut. Anyways.
Backed up fact. It's looking a little grim here, baby birds. If you haven't seen Idiocracy, I do recommend giving it a watch, not only for context, but also because it's just a fun movie. And we know we aren't allowed those anymore. For the uninitiated, Idiocracy is a satirical sci-fi film that is originally set in the year 2005. The protagonist, Joe, an American soldier of aggressively average intelligence, is cryo-frozen during a military experiment alongside a woman of the night called Rita. When the experiment's leading man is arrested for his involvement in a schmoshta-schmooshin ring, the project is disbanded, leaving Joe and Rita forgotten for the next 500 years. So when Joe and Rita wake up in the year 2505, they discover a completely different and exceptionally dumb world that is borderline collapsing in on itself. Instead of flying cars, there are enormous mountains of rubbish everywhere. Corporate greed has reached exponential levels, with advertising everywhere and anywhere, including on clothes, in hospitals, even in the White House.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
The English language has completely
I've never seen this movie, so I wouldn't know, but that's good. That's a good one. I've never seen this one, but that's fun. That's fun. Never seen this one. Okay.
deteriorated, much like we see today with people overusing the word like.
I don't know what dress to get. My other dress didn't get here. Should I wear the sparkly dress, or should I get
Water has been replaced with a sports drink of sorts called Brondo. There are slot machines in the hospital to win medical care. Everything is sexualized into oblivion, including stores basically.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is a prophecy. You know, maybe it is. Actually, maybe it is. Correction, maybe it actually is a prophecy, because that's very accurate to the way we live sooner or later.
Doing schmoshta-schmooshin, like Starbucks and H&R Block.
Man, I could really go for a Starbucks, you know?
Yeah, well, I really don't think we have time for a hand job, Joe.
Intelligence tests are toddler puzzles, and the only forms of entertainment are ultra-violent, hypersexualized, and highly commercialized, with television channels called the Violence Channel and the Masturbation Network. Terrific. And all of this happened because the well-educated people had fewer and fewer children because they were being considerate of the environment or their particular circumstances, while the undereducated and maybe even potentially not super smart at all people rapidly procreated because they don't care.
My first wife was targeted. She's a pilot now.
In short, the collective IQ.
What did he just say? My first wife was targeted? She's the pilot now. Goodbye, Poke. Goodbye, Croc. It was nice knowing you. You will now crash with a plane.
Of everybody has been lowered due to a lack of natural selection, or due to natural selection. I guess it depends on what your perspective is on that one, leaving Joe and Rita to be the most intelligent people alive. And it's not really hard to see why. Their 2505 counterparts are putting Brondo on the crops and wondering why they can't grow any food.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Through a series of silliness and
it's got electrolytes. That's what plants want. Bro, there. Wait, is that the White House?
mishaps, Joe is found to be the smartest person alive and is eventually sent to meet the president, where he then is made a member of the president's cabinet and is charged with fixing the non-existent economy, the mountains of rubbish, and resolving the famine that is plaguing the country, one that is caused by feeding the plants Brondo. Unfortunately, Joe trying to explain to these people that you have to give water to plants to make them grow kind of feels a little bit like trying to explain to a progressive that men can't be women.
It's a spectrum, so like a lot.
Can you name me a few?
You can be man, female, you could be, there's so many.
This is sort of like how I keep...
She could name two. She could name two. She wasn't able to able to name more than two. And she named two and was like, oh, there's so many. Name them. Since there's so many, name them. Right? But the people are retarded.
Having to tell all of you that you need a VPN in the year of our Lord 2026, and you can have one thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. Alright,
soon it's gonna be H verification shark. To be fair, Demolition Man 90s movie called Leftism, Censorship, Man Frozen until 2032.
lads, let's get started. Would anyone like to share? She got a VPN last month. I can still see some of her Google searches at least. Mine got one too. At least I can still see what country she's pretending to be in. Mine got Surfshark. Oh, I know. It's like she put the whole internet into witness protection. No logs, no leaks, no nothing. I just stare at my screen and it's just darkness. Pure, encrypted darkness. How long has it been, mate, since she got Surfshark? 3 months. 4 days and 11 hours since I've been able to glimpse her Google searches. I used to know what she was doing when she was stress baking at 1 a.m. because of her recipe queries. Her brownie recipe queries. Now it's just a digital black hole, like my soul. Well, at least you've got the memories. I had everything, damn it. I knew all her private information, her email addresses, I even had some of her passwords. Now she gets ad-free browsing. I heard they even...
It's ironic considering that if you genuinely believe that the FBI could not look up your shit because you have a VPN, you must be incredibly delusional. If you believe that like state institutions cannot do that, I think I have to start pulling that tooth real quick. That is still happening. The top was Reddit socialism. Reddit! We love Reddit and we want the child from you.
Get alerts when they're involved in a data breach. Probably not the best time to bring that up. She could use Surfshark on as many devices as she wants from the one subscription. She can even access geo-blocked content that's not available in this country. She can use it to get onto Netflix in different countries and access their content. Well, she's gotta use public Wi-Fi at some stage. That's probably a chance to find her again. No, you don't understand. She even has protections for that. She's a digital ghost. There, buddy. Genuinely, it's gotta be alright. Maybe we'll try therapy tomorrow with the Google Analytics guys. So if you are ready to break up with your...
That was a very long skit. That was a very long skit. I was already asking if this is continuing, Poke. I found the video. I found the Croc Rock. I'm gonna replace you with that. Okay, and? What about that video?
FBI man and cut off his stalking habits, then click the link in the description or go to surfshark.com/Sydney. And don't forget to use code Sydney to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Anyway, looking at this movie from a 2006 perspective, I'm sure that it was quite funny and not at all depressing. At the time, technology hadn't exploded in the same way that it has now. You know, we still had dial-up, I think, maybe. We didn't have AI, there wasn't all of these social media platforms and the endless doom scrolling and TikTok and whatnot. People still prioritized intelligence and corporations hadn't fully taken everything over yet. And I'm also pretty sure that most people could still read. But a lot has changed in 20 years, and maybe our world is reflecting idiocracy more and more as time wears on. I don't know why I'm saying maybe. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. And the thing is, if we don't learn from this and course correct now, we're in for a bad time.
You know why being overweight is one of the smartest things you could do?
Dead. This is death. This screams death. This woman is dead. If she's not already, she will be in 5 years. That isn't smart. That isn't smart.
Just imagine a zombie apocalypse and there's no food left. Overweight people keep all the food in their belly. Therefore, they would live longer than people who aren't overweight.
Okay, it's possible we're already there.
That's not how it works, right? The food wouldn't stay in. She's not storing food in her fat in her fat body. Yes, she would survive a little longer, likely, without food, right? She would struggle less. But that's about it. That's about it.
One of the things that's very obvious about this movie, and I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, is that it is a reflection of what happens when people lean into their worst possible impulses all of the time. The idiots in this film aren't only unintelligent halfwits, they are driven to constantly seek any form of stimulation that they can, to the extent that sessions being held at the White House are treated like a Thunderdome event, and when Joe fails to immediately fix the dying crop issue, they condemn him to death via monster truck rally, because this population is so mentally fried that even a death sentence has to be nth degree entertaining. And not only that, but they're so impatient for a result, in the case of the crops, they can't function without immediate gratification. Now, children, who does that sound like to all of you? It's us. It sounds like us. Well, not us, as in this community on this channel.
Well, we're not doing, last time we checked, we're not sentencing people to death. At least last time I've checked. We are canceling them. Right, but we're not sentencing them to death yet. Anyways.
We're obviously perfect and infallible, but everybody else. Of course, this is just one example from a movie that is full of oddly specific, kind of prophetic examples. But there are more, like cars turning off when citizens do something wrong. We know that in 2027 onwards, cars will have kill switches in them. Love that. Brondo Corp, the electrolyte drink, bought the FDA and other government agencies and now dictate what is health and what is not. In 2026, we know how much lobbying major corporations do, and so in a way, they sort of might as well own areas of government. Especially all those pesticide companies who keep trying to people who are trying to unseat them. Government leaders in this movie are obviously so deeply unintelligent, but they're also bought and paid for figures. Again, in real life, we have a member of the Supreme Court right now who couldn't even define the word woman.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this.
Adult human female. There you have your definition. Adult human female. There it is. That's the definition. There it is. That is it. Adult human female. I know. Sounds difficult. Sounds indeed difficult. Spoiler alert. It isn't. Adult human female.
Context, I'm not a biologist.
And who could forget Kamala's word salads, or Biden just wandering around confused for the majority of his presidency?
I just love them for so many reasons. Maybe because I went to school on a school bus.
And you ain't black.
It obviously doesn't help when we have politicians like AOC trying to seem more relatable by using unnecessary slang that makes absolutely no sense, like her recent declaration to pull up to the South, or whatever.
What action can I take? It is time for the North to pull up to the South.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
The interesting
The North pull up to the South? What does that mean, by the way? Is she stating she wants war?
thing about Idiocracy is it opens with the idea that evolution doesn't necessarily reward the most intelligent, but those who can reproduce the most, making intelligent people an endangered species. And hearing this on my latest watch through, I couldn't help but think of movements like 4B, for example, that has women subscribing to 4 tenets that basically all revolve around not having babies. Or
you know what the funny thing is, however? They tried to co-opt this in the West, right? They tried to do this in the West. But here's something incredibly hilarious. It doesn't work that way because, fun fact, 4B is really small in Korea, actually, South Korea, actually. It is so shrinking small, it doesn't matter. The reason why people in Korea are not having children is because they don't have the munya. And no munya, no babies.
The idea that Western countries need to import a third world labor force to accommodate our declining birth rates.
Doesn't fix though, which is interesting, right? Doesn't fix it because the countries that we actually import our workers from now, how do you say this? They are having low birth rates themselves. So eventually you're gonna run out of immigrants too.
Interestingly, most of this labor is actually unskilled and not that smart. Idiocracy successfully highlighted what wide-scale collective incompetence gets us, and in a lot of ways, it's just as alarming and dystopian as massive government overreach. But more than that, Idiocracy makes me wonder about the way we consume content these days, because it shows us people strapped to their chairs watching TV nonstop to the extent that they have toilets in their chairs. Our current content setups let us scroll from one short video to the next, shortening our attention spans and killing our dopamine receptors. We consume so much low-quality short-form content and nobody seems to think this is a problem. I mean, realistically, this is to the extent where people tell other people to go touch grass because so many people today are so engrossed in social media and the online world that they simply don't do that anymore. Or social media platforms have to actually remind people and tell people to stop scrolling, to get up and drink and go outside and get some air. No, Simon, that is not a joke. We've talked on this channel before about the dangers of social media and TikTok and short form content. We've also
Nah, I think that's more so. Yeah, I guess it is more. Yeah, touch grass is mostly used for people that are chronically online. Almost the people who have also people, however, who have ridiculous takes.
Talked about the lessening interest in pursuits like reading and proficiency with words, which I'm not going to reiterate because I literally just talked about this the other day. And this over-reliance on content.
For reading to become more popular, we actually have to have good writers. A lot of the books that are being released, and that's just the harsh truth, is corn slop. It's dark romance, slop. And that's it. Can anybody name me like a good book in recent time that everyone talked about, that people talked about, that wasn't dark romance slop, that wasn't right, that wasn't essentially woman slop, if you want to call it that? You can't. You can't. That's the harsh truth. All of the media, especially, right? If you want to get men to read books, especially, right? You're not going to achieve that with whatever that is. That's just the harsh reality.
And entertainment and not engaging with literature and books and actually interacting with people is leading to some incredibly negative outcomes, and it's
in order for people to interact with others, there need to be third spaces, but in this economy, you cannot keep up third spaces. A lot of those died during 2020. So yeah, if you want to have people literally go outside, they need to have a place to go outside. And it gets even worse, right? So we banned in many countries social media for children, right? For underage, right? But here's the fun part. These people are also not meeting, they're still not meeting up with others. Now they're just sitting on Netflix and watching shows all day. They still stay inside. So this hasn't really fixed it either, right? The minors might not be on the internet, but they're not going outside and touching grass either. So there's that. Right? That didn't fix it either. If anything, now we've isolated them even more, which is hilarious, right? Because, like, you want, right? They use that, right, as an excuse to say, yeah, children should go outside more, meet up with people, but they don't have a place to meet up with because there are no third spaces.
Even given us the infamous Gen Z.
And even if there are third spaces, they're not affordable.
Stare, which I've brought up before as well. Can you guys blink, maybe? I recently stumbled upon this clip of a university student who couldn't spell the word business, didn't know the sum of 45 and 55, and seemed to have the cognitive capabilities of a sim.
What do you study? I do business. Business? Yeah. Spell business. B-I-S-S-I-N-S. Business.
Obviously, this is just one person in one clip, but it's not hard to find so many others that are just like this. People being...
Are these people... Why do we even build schools anymore? Why why do we even build schools anymore? Like, why do we build schools? Genuine question. Why on earth do we build schools? There's no point for them, actually. There's no point in having schools. Right? There's no point. You cannot tell me these people are actually going to university. What are you doing?
Ask simple questions to do simple arithmetic, and I'm terrible at maths.
Right? Like, wait, I can do simple math stuff either. I'm retarded when it comes to math. I can't do everything else, right? I've never had any issues, for example, with physics, but math is just cooked. So yeah, I'm not gonna say anything here. But how am I as a non-native speaker? How am I able to speak better English than some people that aren't that do speak it natively, right? As like where it's their mother tongue. I find that so interesting.
By the way, and even I can do some of these equations off the top of my head. People are just incapable of doing anything that requires any level of intellectual thinking. And I know I keep saying this, but I come back to the fact that a lot of this is being spurred forward by the content and entertainment that we are consuming. We're at the point where even the entertainment that's on television and in the box office and the movies and films and whatever that we watch are being dumbed down to accommodate people being functionally unable to concentrate. We've talked before on this channel about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck talking about the dumbing down of movies to keep people interested, because these two men inherently know that viewers are going to be on their phones while watching a film, meaning most of the dialogue must repeat over and over what is happening for those who simply can't be bothered to pay attention. And as a result, the entire film industry, it seems, has shifted from creative, complex narratives to copy-paste formulas because people just are not going to pay attention.
Superhero movies are a result of that. Yep, I'm gonna say it. Modern superhero movies are a result of that. Arguably, after, if you want to say it, after Endgame, it got really bad. But I would say even before that, it got kind of bad. But yep, superhero movies are a result of that.
They want something that's familiar and easy to digest. Hence why we have 5 Shreks and Toy Stories and a million other zombie.
Well, I don't mind Shrek. I don't think that the 5th Shrek was necessary, and it also looks horrible. Oh yeah, by the way, we're getting Ice Age 6. Yes, you heard that right. So, they killed the studio that made Ice Age, so they could revive Ice Age, because probably they realized they're not making money.
Like franchises. Writing all over the place is being dumbed down because audiences are more distracted than ever. And then we have stuff like this, which is apparently called music, and you know, I think this just proves that we've lost the culture war with ourselves and everyone who's lived before us, because what the fuck? I wish I could play the song for you, but I'm hoping from the visuals and what this person looks like that you're getting a good indication of what it sounds like.
Is she talking about like taking D? Is that what it is? Is she talking about taking the big C, vitamin D, and that's all she cares about? Maybe some drugs, maybe some money, and that's all, right? I don't like rap. I'm gonna say it the way it is, right? I've always said it, but for the most part, I do not like rap, especially modern rap, right? Because in my opinion, it lacks oftentimes meaning. Right? Or it's just about the same thing. It's about the hoes and money. I didn't like it.
Because it's not good. But, you know, at least instead of media being slapstick comedy and basically anything of the lowest tier, like in Idiocracy, we get to have reboot apocalypses and making everything gay.
President, have you made a decision?
I have. It's time to nuke Russia.
Obama gay? Barack Gay Obama? I like some rap. For most part, I don't. Same, don't like it. We probably also don't like it because German rap is such shit. Do you want to listen to fucking Icky Mel? Anyways, Gay Obama is real. Oh, these are babas. These babas? How? This doesn't make sense.
These babas are non-binary. They love each each other so proudly.
But what Idiocracy shows us is not too far away from where we are right now. In the film, the most popular show is called Ow My Balls, and the newest Oscar-winning movie is a single 90-minute shot of a naked butt. Again, in 2006, this probably seemed really funny and really goofy, but look at what is being produced today. I know I randomly spawn sometimes into these videos with glasses, but I was trying to read something and now they're on my face and they're gonna leave those little marks on my nose, so maybe I'll just leave them on. I don't know, maybe there's too much glare. We know content has to be more and more extreme to get eyeballs, including the uptick in online mattress actressing, which has given us extreme—
Yep. Hilltop Hoods, Eminem before 2008, Beastie Boys. Yeah, you're talking about all older stuff, right? I'm talking about like modern stuff, right? None of that sounds good. Metal can still do pretty well, but most stuff nowadays is kind of cooked. And even metal is to a degree cooked.
Challenges like sleeping with hundreds of men in 24 hours. The Mr. Beasts of the world are blasting you with so much color and fast-moving visuals as humanly possible. We have influencers bashing their faces with hammers to look better and get better-looking jaws, and streamers showing you their weird BDSM situations. I still don't know what's going on here. TikTokers are out in public harassing total strangers or service people in restaurants and shops. And if that isn't bad enough, one key characteristic of people in Idiocracy is a lack of awareness, a lack of impulse control, and a tendency towards violence. They often act like giant toddlers, throwing fits when they don't get their way, which is something we see all over social media, from college campuses to random street fights that go viral. I'm not gonna lie, guys, when we have people throwing hands at a kindergarten graduation, I think—
Kindergarten graduation, bro, leaves one injured and one behind They're beating each other as a kindergarten graduations? What on earth is happening here? Got to go, bye guys, and Gooner Slime, take care, GT. Also, don't call me a Gooner, you are the Gooner. You are the Gooner in the chat. Okay, maybe Shocking Unk beats you still.
We may have reached a new level of idiocy. But the last thing that I want to mention here that I've already touched on a little bit is the commentary on corporations and advertising. In this movie, advertising is out of control, and 75% of the population works for a single mega company, Brondo. As so many other people have pointed out, the advertising thing was especially prophetic because by today's standards, advertising is everywhere, and we live in a very advertising-friendly world, and there is just no escaping it. It's funny that I say this because I know that
it's funny that you say this considering that you had a Surfshark ad. Ironic.
bunch of people feel like that about YouTube, and I totally get it. I also feel like this personally with relation to Amazon. You can buy products while you're watching Amazon Prime shows and movies from the television or on your laptop or wherever you're watching it. It's just that, I don't know, that feels like really dystopian to me. In Idiocracy.
Yeah, it's also, see, you pay a subscription so you can watch shows with ads, mind you. Right? You pay a subscription so you can watch shows with ads that weren't initially there when when all of this initially started. We just took it like good little boys. It's horrible.
We see advertising like this billboard, for example, that says, if you don't smoke tarlatans, F you, which in a way feels sort of emblematic of advertising these days, where you're made to feel bad if you don't buy a certain product, except that now they're just using activism to sell everything. Thankfully, we've just come out of the period of time where 900 they-thems were trying to sell you jumpers. But what other people have pointed out, and what I'd like to point out as well, is how, in an extremely ironic twist, Idiocracy's scathing attack on mega corporations was so on the money that Fox decided it was better for them to throw away the $2.5 million they spent making the movie than actually let people see it. Idiocracy makes fun of outfits like Starbucks and Carl's Jr. These brands probably signed on to the project thinking that they'd be venerated like normal, but they weren't. Idiocracy even took aim at Fox News, making fun of it and having its reporters do news partially naked. 20th Century Fox probably realized they are going to get their heads kicked in by advertisers and made the decision instead to bury this movie, releasing it in as few cinemas as legally possible and doing zero advertising for it. It is remarkable that this film even saw the light of day at all. Since 2006, the power and the influence of megacorporations and advertising has only gotten stronger, and probably going forward, that's just going to continue. Now we have megacorporations that have more control than ever before, especially after the pandemic, and you have all of these people that they employ, all of these people who are dependent on these corporations, who defend them, who will vote against their.
It's interesting because, right, under capitalism, arguably, technically, monopolies shouldn't exist, but somehow we have monopolies, which is why I'm saying that we don't really have have capitalism. We have something else. I forgot the term what it was, but it's basically bank controlled and not market controlled. So, well, that's where we are now.
Own interests in favor of corporations, and it kind of boggles my mind. I could make an entire video talking about just this, but I think for today I have talked enough. Not to be a negative Nancy, but I think in a lot of ways we are absolutely regressing in the same way that Idiocracy said that we would. In intelligence, behavior, the kind of people we vote for, the kind of music we listen to, the kind of content that we consume, all of this year on year is in a lot of ways getting worse and worse. And there's this feeling that we have to settle because we know that things are not going to get better. It's as if we all have to settle for mediocrity and sameness because nobody is allowed to be better than anybody else. And that's just such a losing.
It starts already with kids media, right? It always starts with kids media. I'm gonna say something that will probably annoy a couple of people, but children deserve good stories. I know, shocker, but the excuse that, oh, this is for children is not a good excuse. Children deserve great stories. Children deserve quality. I found this hilarious when people said, like, oh, the Minecraft movie, and I'm like, right? And I straight up said, yeah, this looks like slop, right? And people were like, oh, but it's made for kids. The kids will enjoy. Kids deserve good stories. I know, kids deserve good stories. Shocker. This should be a fork found in kitchen moment, but apparently not.
Strategy. And now that we have AI, we have technology thinking for people, which I think is just pushing us more and more towards the cliff of stupidity. You don't really have to remember anything at all or try hard when you can just ask a search engine or go onto the AI and make it talk to you. You don't really need to study for hours or go to school or go to university when you have these massive thinking machines at your disposal doing everything for you. In the end, similarly to Idiocracy, I think many of the conveniences of modern tech are lulling us into a false sense of security and, more importantly, a sense of complacency. We spend our time depleting our brains rather than enriching them, and although Idiocracy is supposed to be funny and a satirical bit on what could happen if we let intelligence die out, I think that the way that we're heading is not great as far as upkeeping and upholding smartness and making sure that people value being intelligent and having skills that are actually usable in the real world. So with that said, while we can have a laugh at Idiocracy, I think that it serves more as a warning signal rather than a comedy. Now, on that very happy and pleasant note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Surfshark using the link in the description. I have used Surfshark for years. They're the only VPN.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video, I'll be real. So to summarize this whole thingy, this whole, yeah, that's where we could definitely head. That's where we could definitely head, right? We just don't have literacy numbers dropping, right? Rates dropping, right? We have everything is dropping. Everything. You can see, for example, that high school, right, at least in Germany, it has gotten significantly easier so that most people that are going to high school actually also graduate, right? It's very interesting. We have more and more people actually going to university and college, right? Usually you would think that's a good thing, right? People are getting more intelligent, but that's not really, or like they're working harder, they're getting better grades, they're getting better in general, right? But from what it looks like, actually, the requirements and how hard it actually is has dropped. Yeah, it is. It is very interesting, right? Uh, the thing is, like, right, we're encouraging this now in schools, right? Where like we use AI, we use tablets, we use. I maybe this is a hot take, but I feel like schools should stay a phone-free area. I'm gonna be real. I know this is not gonna be able to. You're not gonna be able to force that, and maybe even a tablet-free area. But that's just me. Also, we have a problem. It starts with the parents. This starts with the parents, and right. So Gen Alpha will be the generation that will fully grow up with media. Gen Alpha will also be a generation that has parents that will be parents with media, with all types of technology, right? That grow up on social media, and then that generation, right? The kids that these have, right? Those will be the ones who have never, likely soon, never even known something before that, right? Some alpha kids still might know, like, experience in some ways some stuff differently. Their kids won't. So that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, it seems like it might be accurate to what is going to certainly happen in the future.